Topcon is proving that Smoothride is just as important for you and me on our commute to work as it is for a racing driver out on the track.
The current challenges in paving, especially in the asphalt paving industry, are obtaining thickness, cross slope, and rideability all at the same time, right? So these three aspects are very hard to do traditionally using 2D systems or running screws. Because if you run cross slope, sometimes you can't get the desired thickness, and these are all dictated by the DOTs and agencies across the states and over the world, right? So these things have to all be met to a certain percentage in order to get paid or get damages. So with systems like the technology we have here, Smoothride, these technologies provide the customers advanced knowledge of what they're doing before they get out there. So we scan the road, and then we develop models from these scans. And what that does is it gives the contractor the ability to design the road perfectly within the specifications given from the DOTs before they get out to the road and try to do it without knowing. So it's all about the knowledge ahead.
Quite frankly, in the world of motorsport, everything comes down to the surface. You know, as we say, it's where the rubber meets the road. And from a racing driver's perspective, the importance of a smooth surface is absolutely paramount. The way in which Topcon and Smoothride have elevated the game when it comes to paving racetracks has absolutely transformed it, purely down to the way in which they carry out the project. So in years prior, a racetrack would have to be shut down for weeks at a time. You know, quantity surveyors out for weeks with all their tripods getting all the different points. But now, thanks to Topcon technology, Smoothride comes in 20 minutes, can do a lap of a racetrack, 1,000 points a second, and create a 3D model and scan of that given racetrack there and then. So from a racing driver's perspective, a racetrack's perspective, and so on and so forth, there's massive efficiency gains across the board. Then when you go to repave that racetrack, because it's millimeter accuracy at a 3D level, the finish which you get is second to none. So us race drivers love every bit of it.
So we've come a long way. We've actually changed our workflows quite a bit and to morph them into more customer-friendly workflows, right? So we can now tie to control, whereas before it was all just relative to itself. So now we can actually tie to control and do things like airports and mainline constructions that have predetermined vertical profiles to go to.
From a driver's perspective, the smoother racetrack, the safer it is. It's life and death. We're going over 200 miles an hour at times. So safety increases massively, which is a net win. The surface is smoother. As a result, you can run the car lower, closer to the racetrack, which as a result improves lap time, because we all race aerodynamic-based cars, and the lower cars to the ground, the more downforce which you have. So as a result, you get faster lap times, better racing, mechanics, engineers, drivers, so on and so forth are happy. But really, when you go to the promoter side of things, a lot of people forget that the risk of a race being postponed or delayed due to weather as on a smooth track as opposed to an unsmooth track is vastly different. If you're in an unsmooth surface, you get standing water builds in areas and so on and so forth. Smooth track tends to have good drainage. So as a result, the fear of races being delayed or postponed due to standing water is completely eliminated.
So we're basically modernizing the resurfacing game, if you would, right? So overlays, mill and fills, we've kind of modernized that, because now we can take technology, scan the road, and develop those two models to go into the machine. So there's now states with specifications that are dictated just for this. They're called relative specs. So they'll put that spec into their supplementals and actually let jobs specifically for these technologies. So it's changing the game as it goes. Technology is driving the change and driving tighter specifications, more quality roads, because if you pave the road correctly, you get the proper thickness of the pavement. That road's gonna last longer because the designs are meant to have that thickness of pavement. So it's all about longevity, it's all about quality, and it's about the tolerances needed. Also, to keep those volumes under wraps, right? So where the contractors aren't out there paving much more than they need, right? They're only using the volumes that they need, the materials that they need. Just more paving technology, right? So we innovated this 8 years ago, and the softwares that come with it are amazing. So part of this whole solution is the resurfacing software that we have, that really is the magic in this whole system.
Well, if Topcon's Smoothride is good enough for a professional driver like James, then it's good enough for us.